Everybody, what's happening? So this is not a build video. This is a me showing you where I'm at with the van, both with the build and as far as whether or not I'm going to keep the van and what's going on with how it runs. So I'll start with the build, where I'm at with that. So let's take a look. So as you can see, it's all set up. Yesterday, all day, I packed everything in and went through everything, not only for spiders and cockroaches, but also to see what else what I didn't need anymore and what wouldn't fit. Because a few things wouldn't fit, like my subwoofer. There's absolutely nowhere I could put it. But yeah, I got all my clothes in here and I drove around a little bit and they stayed in, no problem. So that's definitely a cool thing. And I got all my stuff packed back here. I ended up keeping my rain gear here because it's a handy location, both from inside the van and out back. And my extra blanket. My guitars fit like perfectly in here. Look at this. There's just a tiny, tiny, tiny bit of room. It's like this awesome thing. And my toolbox ended up fitting absolutely perfectly too. So around this side, you know, one thing I realized is that if I have the option of laying down or sitting down, I'd rather lay down. So I'm probably gonna leave this thing in night mode like 99% of the time, except for when I'm looking for something or I need something out from underneath. And I've gone ahead and put everything that I know that I won't need all the time, like back here. Let me pull this out and show you. Back towards the middle there. So back there is all my camping gear and my miscellaneous box. That's all my extra kitchen stuff. Which, if I'm pulling this box out, which is food, then it won't be in the way because I'll have it out anyway. So that works out. One thing I need to figure out is a way to prevent the guitars and this box from sliding forward if I have to slam on the brakes, which I guess it would hit the fridge, but I don't really like that idea. So one more mod I'm gonna do to this is add hinges on this so that this just lifts up instead of, like it just lifts up and I can go under there and get stuff instead of having to pull the thing all the way out. It'll make it less of a hassle that way. And another thing that I realized is I was gonna build a shelf here, but you know what? I really like laying with my head up there with a pillow behind me and putting a foot here and a foot on the fridge. It just works great. And one thing I got yesterday, which is just beautiful, it just worked out perfectly, is this box. Check this thing out, man. Like, it doesn't look as good as the wood or anything, but I screwed it in. It's really lightweight. It's the perfect size for a silverware holder, and I actually got a really good knife, so I have a good knife now. And the top one I'm using as a spice rack, or the middle one, and the top one's open now. I don't know what I'll put in there yet. But basically the only thing I have to do now is the headboard, which I will probably do tomorrow. And then, yeah, that's basically it. I'm not gonna stain anything. I'm just gonna leave it bare wood because I don't wanna pull everything out and stain it and then have to put it back in and everything else. Oh, and the other thing I have to do is figure out how to keep the water jug in here. I think I might cut a little hole right here and have like a stick that goes through the handle. I'll show you more of that tomorrow. It'll be easier to show you than to tell you. I want to give a real quick review of this fridge. I had it plugged into my battery all night the other night and all day. And by the end of the day, as the sun was starting to set, right about as it is right now, which you can't really tell that well on camera, the battery was at 12.5%, which is less than fully charged. Fully charged is 12.6. So I know that on very overcast days with no direct sun, that the 100-watt solar panel and 92 amp hour battery is not enough to run this fridge and keep the battery totally topped off. But otherwise, this thing is very quiet. It works very well. And I'm extremely happy with it. I've got it totally filled up. So that's where I'm at with the build. It's pretty much done. I really want to get a rug right here. This area, this crack right here is like, dirt just falls straight through it all the time. And I don't like taking my shoes off every single time I get in. It's just a pain. Now, as far as the way this thing runs, so my random misfire is gone. It's no longer random misfiring, but it is misfiring on cylinder number 3. And I'm almost positive that it's not a fuel or ignition issue because all of those parts have been replaced. And it's not a sensor issue either, unless it's a computer issue like the ECU itself. So therefore, it's either the ECU, which I doubt it is because it hasn't been acting weird any other way, or it's an internal problem, which is definitely likely because I've had all the metal shavings in the oil. So that means I'm gonna need a new engine before long. And also the transmission problem has been solved pretty much. So my transmission's probably fine. I know the transmission in this thing has been replaced looking at the wiring harness. So basically it's gonna be like $2,000, $2,500 for a new engine, and that will give me a brand new engine. And I can get a marine one, which will have more power than the one I have now anyway, which will give me better fuel economy. So, and all the bolt-on parts that I'd have to put on it I already have, and most of them are brand new, or at least like 6 months old. So I might end up doing that. The only downside to that, to sticking with this van, is how much space it has. I can definitely deal with it by myself. With 2 people, it might be a challenge, but other people have done it. They've done it in smaller vehicles and homes and whatever. And I can get a cargo carrier down here, and it'll take away my stealth a little bit, and it'll also take away the ease of parking, but I can get a backup camera or something. But I can hold a ton of storage in one of these things back here, and there's quite a few things inside that I could put back here. And I'd also have room for firewood, which would be really, really nice. So that's where I'm at with the build and the van. I'm really heavily leaning towards just keeping this van and putting a new engine in it. I've upgraded so many things on it that half of it's brand new already. So a new engine would just mean that I know I have a van that will last like 300, 400, 500,000 miles, depending on how I take care of it. So yeah, so that's really all I have today, guys. So thank you so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, and I will see you next time, probably tomorrow. Peace.